Welcome to the Get Happier podcast, where I share my life hacks with those of you who are like me, who may be busy or just lazy and want to find the easiest, most efficient, most enjoyable way to hack your life. Hey guys, welcome back. This is Samara, and today I want to talk about why manifesting isn't working for you. So I was introduced to the topic of manifesting, law of attraction, whatever you want to call it, many moons ago, and have been using it to transform my life. Because I tend to get lost in any topic that interests me, I think I've tried just about every technique there is out there. And I'll be honest, even at this point, sometimes I'm successful in manifesting something that I desire, and sometimes I'm not successful. So the title of this podcast or this episode is misleading because honestly and truly, I believe that manifestation is always working, meaning we are always the ones that are creating our experience. So what does it mean when you intend to create one experience and you end up with another? There's a lot of ways that this has happened for me. One of those ways, which is pretty straightforward, is that I will think that I want something, for example, a new house or a new car or a new relationship. And so I'll be very clear on exactly what I think that should be like. And then I do get it, and my experience is nothing at all like what I anticipated. Us humans are remarkably horrible at understanding what will truly make us feel a certain way. Maybe with life experience and having a certain type of experience over and over again, we can kind of, get to understand some things that we're sure will make us feel good. But for the most part, we have no idea, especially if it's something we've never been exposed to or don't have that much experience with. We can have these ideas about what it's going to feel like to have an experience and be totally off when we actually get it. I mean, I did that with my career. I've done that in many relationships. We're just remarkably bad at understanding what we want. So what's the remedy for this type of manifestation, quote unquote, failure? I think it is that we, instead of manifesting a thing like a house or a car or even a relationship or a baby or whatever we want, we should be manifesting a state of being. And the amazing thing about manifesting a state of being versus manifesting an experience or a thing is that you can slip into it immediately. So let's say you're trying to manifest that new car and you are aware in your 3D reality that you don't have the car yet, right? So you're having these thoughts that say, I don't have the car yet, but it's coming. And you're continuously manifesting that state. So it seems to be taking forever for this car to show up in your life. And then suddenly you forget all about it. You forget that you were trying to manifest it, and it pops up somehow by a series of events that you weren't aware were leading you to your manifestation. The reason why that happens is because, like I said, when you're thinking, I don't have it yet, then you're manifesting a state of I don't have it yet. And then when you forget about it, you've kind of branded the image of the car in your mind. And when you stopped thinking about the fact that you didn't have it, you were led straight to it. So that's some of the frustration that comes with trying to manifest things. Versus if you try to manifest the feeling of luxury. Let's say you want to manifest a luxury vehicle and you try to manifest the feeling of luxury. Then you can do that in your current car. You can start to feel luxurious by adding certain, like I added these little diamond, embellishments around all of my knobs in my car and on my steering wheel to create a sense of luxury. I added certain scents to my car. And I started imagining when I was trying to manifest the luxury vehicle that I have now, when I was in my old car, I started to imagine the logo of the new vehicle in my current car. And so instead of creating a feeling of not having it yet, I created the feeling of already having it. And within a couple of months, I did have it under really cool circumstances. If you're interested in me sharing the story of how I manifested my luxury vehicle, Leave me a review and a comment depending on where you're consuming this episode. But yeah, that's the trick to getting there faster, is to manifest the state of being. Let's say you're trying to manifest weight loss. Well, if you're constantly on the scale looking at a number you don't like, then that could create feelings in you of not being at your ideal weight. But if you imagine yourself as the person who's at your ideal weight and you begin to just exist as though it's true, then you get there without even realizing it, or you run into some sort of pathway to get there that you weren't anticipating. And so one of the reasons why manifestations seem to fail is that we are manifesting the very circumstance we don't want, trying to get to the thing that we do want by constantly thinking about the fact that we don't have it yet. So in terms of relationships, instead of, saying, I wish I had a partner who, we could say my partner and just be sure that those are characteristics of our partner, and we manifest it before we know it. My deal with relationships is I will be very detailed and very intentional about what I want in a relationship. But the truth is, I have no idea what would truly make me happy, or I have not had an idea. And so each of the relationships I've entered into since I discovered manifestation have been what I requested, but possibly not what I needed. That area is a little more tricky to master, at least in my opinion and in my experience, because learning who you are and what you need is a lifelong thing. Like if you're into self-development, which you might be if you're listening to this content, then you're constantly evolving on top of trying to learn about who you are at any given time. And so understanding exactly what you need can be tricky. But one of the things that I will start to implement in all types of relationships that I want to manifest is the permanency. So, for example, I may manifest a person who's super romantic, or I may manifest a person who has a lot of money. I've done all of those things in the past, but then I get into the situation, and for whatever reason, whether it's them or myself, it's only temporary. And so maybe next time I manifest a situation or a state of being that says my relationship is secure and long lasting, like I can count on this being the relationship that I'm in for the rest of my life, or something to that effect. But being careful about manifesting that state of being or the feelings that we want to experience is one way to start to get what we truly desire, instead of getting the opposite of what we desire, or getting something that we think we desire and we don't truly desire. The other reason why manifestation may not seem to be working for us is because of some subconscious beliefs that we have about ourselves. Some of these subconscious beliefs will be easy to shift. Others are very protective. So if we were ever in situations, and people like to refer to childhood, but some of these situations can happen in adulthood as well. But if we're ever in a situation where we feel like we need to be protected, and we go into fight or flight mode, and we develop some sort of coping mechanism that makes sense to us at the time, and then we forget about it once the emotion has subsided, that very protective subconscious belief may be stopping us from manifesting what it is that we want. So we may be doing affirmations, we may be doing, a number of things, and we can't get past some sort of threshold, or we can't seem to move into the experience that we desire. And it could be because we are protecting ourselves. Our subconscious mind is very powerful. It's the thing that runs our bodies. It's the thing that keeps our heart beating tens of thousands of times throughout our lifetime without us even thinking about it. That's the nature of the subconscious mind. It's not a conscious thing. It's not something that we're controlling consciously. So if we have deep-seated beliefs like, if I'm rich, my family won't accept me, I'll be an outcast. Or if I have a happy relationship, everyone's going to want my partner and they're going to be tempted to cheat. Things like that, like if we've had bad experiences related to that before, can stop us from really allowing ourselves to even do the practices to manifest what we want. So manifestation is always working. Sometimes we're manifesting protection by not getting into the best relationship of our lives, or by not having all the money that we desire to have. And sometimes we're manifesting what we quote unquote want when we're constantly saying, I don't have it yet. What we're saying to the universe is that we don't have it. The other thing that can trip us up is we are clear on what we want. We don't have any subconscious blocks, but we don't understand the mechanism itself. So I studied science, engineering, technology in college and have been interested in it my entire life, including quantum theory. Many of you may have already heard about quantum theory, but what I believe, based on my experience and what I've learned about the topic, is that manifestation is not about visualizing. It's not about any particular technique. It is simply about what we choose to focus on. Google the double slit experiment, and then you'll understand what I mean when I say that. But all manifestation is, the true mechanism is what we focus our attention on takes form from imagination. So if you imagine something in your mind, it hasn't taken form yet if it doesn't exist in the 3D. But if you continue to focus on it in your mind, eventually the rest of your experience becomes all about bringing that thing to be. So let's say you are an engineer and you're imagining a concept for a new car. If you forced yourself to think about that concept for the new car 24/7, and that's all you thought about, eventually you'd be guided to do the things needed to create it. And that's a very simplistic explanation, but essentially there are 1,000 ways that things can take form from imagination. You don't necessarily even have to be involved, but the more you focus on something, the more it takes form in your 3D reality. That includes not only physical things, but experiences and emotions. We can look at, our mood. If we have an experience that kind of throws us off first thing in the day, and we allow ourselves to keep thinking about it and focusing on it, we've all found that we run into more challenges throughout the day, similar types of challenges. But if we are disciplined about what we choose to focus on, then we can shift our experience. We can say, for example, if we're stuck in traffic, and, especially in Houston, traffic can be a nightmare. So many people are moving here. But if we think, oh my God, I'm going to be late, this is going to mess up my entire day, and we start thinking about, the domino effect of being late to where we're going, then we tend to run into more frustrations. But if we instead say, like, I have an affirmation that says, my timing is always perfect. So even when I'm late, that's the quickest way that I calm myself down. And every single time without fail, even if I arrive at my destination late, I'm on time. Meaning, let's say I have a restaurant reservation with friends or a date with my partner or something like that. When I arrive, they're arriving at the same time. Or when I arrive, they're just being seated. So my timing is always perfect because that's what I affirm. And that's what I choose to focus my attention on. So that is what materializes for me. So there are certain areas in my life where I'm really good and disciplined at shifting my thoughts. And there are other areas where I could use a ton of work, mainly in the area of relationships. And I'm not just referring to romantic, but all kinds of relationships, like my relationships with friends, my kids, and my partner. So I'm still working on my discipline in that area, but it's really about what you choose to focus on in the now. If you're looking at something and when you think about it, it's off in the future, then you're manifesting it being off into the future. If you're thinking about something you want and thinking about the fact that you don't have it, then you're manifesting not having it. Whatever you choose to focus on is what brings itself to be. So if you're finding that you are surrounded by unwanted experiences, unwanted feelings, unwanted thoughts, then it is directly related to what you give your attention to. And it's a law. It's always working. Manifestation is always working. Quantum theory is always at play. It's just a matter of us properly utilizing or properly understanding the mechanism. It's kind of like if you were driving a car. If your desire was for that car to go forward, but you were pressing your foot on the brake, would you say that the car is not working or that you're not properly using the car? I believe that's what happens with manifestation. I believe that's the reason why I guess it's been 15 years that I've been dabbling in law of attraction and manifestation. I've had some really, really amazing success stories. And then I've had other times where I just wasn't able to move the needle. It wasn't that the car I was driving was broken. It was that sometimes I put my foot on the brake, and I haven't quite figured out how to be consistent in putting my foot where it needs to be in order for the car to do what I want it to do. So if manifesting is not working for you, it's because you're not properly operating the vehicle. You're not properly understanding the principles, and maybe turn it into an experiment and see, when you've had success, if you've had any success, what exactly you did, what frame of mind you were in, what you were thinking about, and then apply that to anything else that you'd like to manifest. If any of what you heard today hit home, or if you have an experience you'd like to share, leave me a review on whatever platform you're consuming this content on, and let me know what you think. Thanks so much for listening.